welcome to another episode of the NRW Checkpoint. I am your host, WebsterStyle, always joined by my man, Brian Sapph. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Can't complain. Now, we talked a lot last week about the potential reveals for the PlayStation State of Play that just recently passed. And well, if you're looking for those sort of reveals, you walked away disappointed. But all in all, Brian, what did you think of the State of Play?
It was just another state of the play. They didn't really get too much into anything PlayStation. It was more, here's a bunch of game trailers and this is what we got coming. I don't know. It was okay to me. I wasn't like blown away, but I definitely saw some games on there that I'm interested in. So
Yeah.
So okay for me.
I feel like I was grossly underwhelmed. Simply because, and again, I make no bones about me not being a PlayStation owner, but I'm a gamer, so I'm always excited about what's coming out, and even what's sometimes exclusive, just to see like what's over there compared to what's over here and what's on Nintendo. I don't think any of the games, if any, it was like one that was a PlayStation exclusive, like all out, not even a time exclusive. And there were just so many cross-platform games. I'm like, what was the real point of having a state of play for these things? But right. I will tell you, I did get very excited though. Oh boy. Kuya P definitely knows about this one and understands why the excitement was there. But Konami, who we don't know what the hell they're doing anymore, they announced the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection. Yeah. So that is every single Turtles NES game from Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and arcade and Game Boy that they published. So we're talking about Turtles in Time, arcade version, Turtles, their arcade version, TMNT, also the Nintendo version. We got every single version of Tournament Fighters, Genesis, SNES, and NES, all of the Game Boy games. Power. Right. I'm just like, wow. And not just that, they're also releasing it physically.
Oh, okay.
So it's 13 games for $40.
Yeah.
And online multiplayer for some of them.
Yeah.
$40. I'm gonna be definitely copping that.
Exactly. So that was like, I was like, oh, take my money on day one. Like there are 2 games this year, and literally only 2 games. As much as some of the other games that are coming out. So far, they're like day one purchases that are taking my money that day. And the first one is Star Trek Resurgence, and that looks absolutely amazing. And then this one, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one. So I'm like, oh my, I can't wait to play that. Oh man, that is all we need now is the X-Men game to be re-released digitally, because I owned it before, but it wasn't backwards compatible from the Xbox 360 arcade. So I was just point about that. But all we need is that. Now that and the Simpsons game too. That would be great to re-release as well. Those old school 4-player licensed arcade games by Konami were just arcade gold.
And when I because I covered it on my podcast or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay, so they doing every Ninja Turtle game that's like ever come out. That's cool. But I was like, this is more for the niche players and fans of the franchise, because all of those games are decades old at this point.
That's true. That they're for me. So put it that way.
Well, I'm just looking at it and I was like, okay, so you look at all the games that y'all have coming out just in this state of the play trailer, and then y'all gonna tuck in Ninja Turtles like that. So I was like, this is definitely for a specific type of player, whatever. But I like that they doing that. I would assume, or I would have assumed that kind of release would just be like a old PlayStation Now type of situation, because that's usually where they tuck away all of our backwards compatibility games and all of those games from like yesteryear that are still like fantastic today. But no, they coming with the full download, or you said physical copy, which is dope.
I was surprised at that.
Yeah, so I was like, it was a nice surprise for me, just because I do remember playing like Ninja Turtle games and like arcades and stuff like that. I never like owned, maybe I did on Sega. I feel like I had a Sega
The Hyperstone
Either way,
heist.
either way, the game looks that was dope. I did appreciate them still, reaching back to in the vault to some of those classic games and be like, we want to keep this going for a newer generation. I also would expect that to be on Switch as well, but I'm not necessarily sure. I didn't check the
I'm assuming it is, but I don't remember when I saw the announcement, because I've watched some other trailers that actually have all of the systems listed. I would be highly shocked if Switch isn't listed. I would bet even money that it is, but I just don't remember.
It's perfect for that.
Yeah, it really is.
And I also what was it? Whatever Final Fantasy Origins game that they announced or whatever. Like I did download demo for that yesterday. I'm gonna be playing it today, probably once we get off of the,
awesome. I'll definitely get your impressions because we're gonna be talking about it later because that comes out this week actually.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I haven't played it yet, but I'm gonna be playing it like probably after we get off of this.
Right.
And I'm gonna see what it's talking about. I like Final Fantasies, Square Enix, they have a good track record in my opinion. So those were one of the games. And I don't know, I cover every game that I was interested in on my podcast, whatever. So if you want more,
you hear it here. Check out Talk+Play blerdcast if you want more about the PlayStation State of Play. But before we move on, I will say though, Konami's slate has just been horrible when it comes to new releases, as far as new titles, even minor IPs for newer titles. But what they've done very well recently are their anniversary collections, the Castlevania anniversary collection. I purchased the Contra anniversary collection. And just really for old school fans, just having all those titles in one place is just really fun, and they put so much love into it as well. So I'm waiting to see what kind of extras they put into this Turtles title in addition to the actual games, because all these anniversary collections have like booklets and Japanese, well, it won't be Japanese versions in this, but there's so many extra details that as a gamer and game history I really love as well. So I'm looking forward to see what they actually do with this title compared to I guess because of what they've done with their anniversary collections they released over the past year or two.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm interested to see if anything new comes to that. Did you looked at the Gundam trailer? Like, how did you feel about that game? Because I know you're a big Gundam fan.
It looked cool. It was just, I've never been a big fan of the Gundam video games, so this was weird for me. But yeah, it looked cool, especially that shift from third to first person, and you're in that mech suit. But for me, I guess all those mech games start to look the same. It just matter what license you slap on it. And I don't know, when you've been around for a while, a lot of things just start look the same. We said this before, like a lot of these games just start looking the same. You just slap a license on it, same gameplay, same sort of style, or we good to go.
That makes sense.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But we'll see when it comes out. So let's start with some new releases for this week. And it's weird because the first game ain't exactly new. And that is I know GTA 5 being released for the next gen current gen consoles, PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. I'm like, GTA 5 came out on the PS3 and 360. Is GTA 5 10 years old yet?
I don't know. It probably do. I know it's walking and talking at this point, eating by itself. Like, this is a grown game.
This is ridiculous. There's no reason. And look, Rockstar's had their issues with mine and GTA with that remasters they did of the first three original mainline title games. So we ain't even getting all that, but they are definitely the well is running dry when it comes to this, and I don't honestly know who this is for.
Well, okay, so I gave up on Grand Theft Auto quite some time ago. I think San Andreas was the last like Grand Theft Auto I really put a lot of time into. I really enjoyed CJ as a character and like all the extra additional things you could do as far as customization with that.
Right.
What I've noticed about Grand Theft Auto 5 is it has like a really big like online community.
Right. And I understand that.
Yeah, it's the first one, if I'm not mistaken, where you can like co-op online with people and do all kind of extra shit or whatever.
Right.
So I see why they keep like focusing on 5 specifically, and then they're teasing 6 like every other month or whatever. Like they give you an extra second of Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer or something is going on with that. But I feel like this is me. I feel like they kind of stacking their chips or whatever. I don't know. I feel like Rockstar wants to be bought by somebody, and they kind of stacking their chips. And the reason I'm saying that is because isn't Red Dead Redemption a Rockstar title?
Yes.
They keep going with Red Dead, and they're pushing the game forward or whatever. I feel like they're trying to get Red Dead to a level that Grand Theft Auto is, so where they can
I would agree with that.
Games. I don't know. I'm trying to understand why they still on 5. So I'm grasping at straws.
It's not so much the fact they're still on 5. And I think just like you said, the online component is why there's no rush, because it's continuing to print money. But why go through all the hullabaloo of publishing an upgrade for the PS5 and Xbox Series X? That could easily been an update pack. You'd have to publish a whole new game for it. And even so, and I've actually doing research for today's show, I saw a couple of people talking about differences between the Xbox One and PS4 version compared to the newer PS5 and Xbox Series version. It's not that big of a deal.
I want to say, what did they discover?
I mean, some they say it looks worse. Some they say like, yeah, it's a little bit more detailed, but it's like a little bit. It's not some humongous step forward when it comes to the look of the game. And let's be real. Most people aren't rocking 8K TVs. Hell, a lot of people still don't have PS5s and 4K, but those have come down in price over the past years. But a lot of people don't have PS5s and Series S and X's. So, like, realistically, why do this now? I mean, you could have done that whenever, or not do it at all. Well, I understand it's a money issue, but again, how much more money are you making from a simple upgrade of texture packs and then releasing the game? And I'm assuming this full price. I didn't look at that though, but still.
Yeah, it's weird. I really want I want the gaming community. I know this will probably never happen, but I really want the gaming community to get over like graphic specs and all that kind of shit. Like, we're at a point with consoles and PC to where everything looks great or whatever. If we get a game and we know that they're not utilizing the full aspects of the graphic capabilities of our TVs and consoles or whatever, then we call them out on that. But being like, oh, the PS4 graphics are this way versus the PS5, like nobody cares. Like, they're still gonna play the games on whatever system they got. So it's pointless to do these kind of upgrades. But to my earlier point, I don't know. I just feel like Rockstar stacking chips for something.
The well is running dry. That's all I'm saying. The well is running dry.
Because I'm not GTA has annoyed the hell out of me just for the simple fact that it's the same game every time with just a new lead character. So I'm just like, I'm really past the whole GTA phase. I hope whatever Rockstar has in the canon as far as their other games, they are like phenomenal. Red Dead is a pretty good game. I feel like maybe that might be Sucker Punch, but there was some talks about other games coming out. I don't know what why they putting so much attention to detail into GTA, but let's not make this another Call of Duty, because Activision is on the brink with that one. So
exactly. Rockstar is in many respects coming a one-trick pony with GTA. Especially with how things have gone in the past 2 to 3 years, if not a little bit longer, with the long legs that GTA 5 has had. I mean, they got Red Dead Revolver, but a lot of other games that we know from them in like the PS2 Xbox era, like Bully never got a sequel. What else? The Manhunter series, those are series that people really loved and people were looking forward to, but just never. I mean, I think those would be ripe for really doing something new in this current generation, even if it's a quote unquote last generation Xbox One PS4 game. It's hard as someone who's into gaming to continue to see the same things over and over and over again.
I'm with you. They need to get away from the gun games. I think that's the only thing that's gonna give us a new direction as far as Rockstar is concerned. Stop the the violence with all of these guns
Mhm.
and figure out another way to create a dope like
Right.
situation. But somebody gonna buy this shit. Like it's not.
Yeah.
There's some diehard GTA folks out there. They're gonna get this.
Oh yeah, and a lot of them too because they keep
Yeah.
playing. So let me ask you a question: do you like your 2D fighting games?
Depends on the it depends on who it is. Like,
Okay.
I still like Capcom, everything they do with their Marvel versus series or whatever the fuck. And you know, we have Street Fighter has evolved a little bit from a 2D fighting style,
Right.
but it depends. I like Guilty Gear and stuff like that. Like
Right.
it depends on what
Okay.
the title is.
Well, I'll say, much to the point where we're speaking of things we've seen over and over again, we have a new 2D anime style fighting game that's coming out this week, and it's Phantom Breaker Omina. And actually, I think we're watching the trailer for that later, so we'll give a bit more impressions on that. And it's an anime-based 2D fighter.
Okay.
It's not much more to say. If you're into those sort of games, you play one. And again, all of them have their nuances, don't get me wrong. But at its core is you have anime characters, anime style characters, and it's that one-on-one fighting that we all know and love from Street Fighter on up. So
yeah,
anything much to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, the anime fighting games, they tend to be pretty good. So
Right.
We'll see what the trailer is talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm not saying it's not good. I'm like, but we've seen them all before. Right? Next up, we have the Cruel King and the Great Hero, and that's on PS4 and Switch. And it is an RPG, and it is I didn't put up the trailer this week. It's a I wouldn't say cutesy style, but it's definitely a sort of simplistic looking RPG, like kind of drawn figures and everything that would really work on the Switch, but it frankly looks forgettable. And again, we have seen a bunch of RPGs released since we started the show just in the past month or so. So I have a hard time seeing that game stand out from the amount of RPGs that there are. And it looks like it's very much in that JRPG vein with that turn-based combat. Like I say, it looks interesting, but ultimately I would forget it. Like the most interesting thing about the game is the name. I just like, oh, what is this? And then I see them like, oh, it looks cute, but doesn't entice me to play it whatsoever. Again, there's definitely gonna be an audience for it. But unless you are someone who just like strictly plays RPGs, I don't know if it's going to be the one for you, but it's definitely something to check out if you're looking forward to it. And it's on PS4 and the Switch.
You said it was turn-based?
Yes.
Okay. We'll see.
Yeah, it looks turn-based from the trailers and gameplay that I saw. It wasn't an action RPG style.
Okay.
The next game
about that State of Play, and they had a bunch of turn-based RPGs.
Exactly.
Shout out to Square Enix once again.
Right. Well, they're skewing more toward that action RPG genre, not so much the turn-based.
Yeah.
But a lot of their older stuff, their tactics is where they're really having that turn-based combat really stay in their more mainline titles. They are moving toward the action RPG, and we saw a lot of that really take place. What was Final Fantasy 15? Which one was it 15? I forget which one is the online RPG.
14.
Okay, so it was 15 where you saw that real big shift, and then obviously you saw evolution of that battle system happen with the Final Fantasy 7 remake.
Yes.
So next up we have, and this is a game I was surprised when I actually sat down and watched the trailers for, and this is Paradise Killer. And this is on PS4, 5, and all the Xboxes. This was actually released for the Switch and the PC way back in 2020. So the game has been around for a while. And it's an adventure game, but it's actually a point and click murder mystery. So think like in, I wouldn't say steampunk, but cyberpunk anime-ish myth game that is a point and click murder mystery. I was like, oh, it's interesting. Again, we talked about before trying to see or wanting to see different types of games and different styles of games. And I think this is definitely something that will appeal to a lot of people looking for something different. I my personal self, I go back and forth on point and kill games. There's some that are just really good, some that's like, okay, these are really, really boring and just not me. And I have a hard time keeping the story, keeping me interested. And that all depends. But I think point and click games still have a very rich history and a very needed in our current gaming landscape to keep things diversified.
Yeah, agreed. And this is one of those ones. It's a murder mystery, so
Yeah,
I could see, the Twitch streamers enjoying this, and Halloween time being prime for this kind of game.
exactly. It sounds good. And next up we have is Tunic, and this is an Xbox PC exclusive. And this is a game that actually debuted, if I remember correctly, way back in E3 2018. So it's been gestating for quite a while, and it's finally going to see release. It is an adventure game. It looks like the overhead 2D, 3D Zelda games. A lot of people compared it to sort of that old school Zelda, like Zelda Link to the Past, those sort of games. Been hearing a lot of praise about it, but you play as a fox and you have a sword and a shield, much like Link, and you're traversing through this world. I played a little bit of the demo, but I think it was time, so I didn't really see that much of it by the time I actually downloaded and played it. But it comes out this week. And it is one of those indie games that Xbox has really been touting. I think there's an Xbox Indie ID Xbox event this week as we're recording. I'm sure they're going to talk a lot about that, because there's another game they've been talking about as well as coming out this week that we're going to talk about also. But it looks really fun. It looks, if you are into those sort of Zelda-esque games, especially if Link to the Past is one of your favorite Zelda games, and this looks like a game that you are definitely going to be interested in picking up and playing if you have an Xbox system.
Cool. Always down for a good one like that.
Yeah. Next one up on the list is a game called Anno Mutationem, and this is for PC, not PC, yeah, PC and PS4. And this is kind of a is an action adventure game, and based on the trailers, it's you got a little bit of that point and click that we talked about before, Paradise Killer. You got some fighting aspects as well, like one-on-one fightings with some of the characters as you interact throughout the society. It looked very interesting, and then it also has that kind of pixelated, stylized, futuristic look that, say, like a flashback or something like that. So it looks like an interesting game. It looks a bit slow paced, but again, going to that, back to that kind of point and click discovery gameplay, it's going to be very slow paced. So it looks interesting. Definitely something that I think will appeal to a smaller audience, but without a doubt, it looks like something that'll be definitely interesting to play.
Okay, cool.
Next up, no, go ahead.
No, is this did you say if it was like first person, or like what's the play style?
It's point and click, and then with some of the fighting I saw, it was like Street Fighter-esque, side to side, like they were fighting in the streets, and then you finish the fight, and then you travel somewhere else, and you're like pointing and clicking stuff in that sort of first person point and click view. So it was interesting. I wouldn't say it like totally grabbed my attention, but it was interesting nonetheless.
Okay, gotcha.
Next up, we have Monster Energy Supercross 5. First of all, I was like, there was a 1 through 4.
No, apparently so.
I was like, okay. So, and that's on PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series SX, and PC. And that is it's racing, it's motocross. So, dirt bikes, hills, jumps. It's motocross. I don't know what
is the energy drink Monster.
Yes, Monster Energy drink. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they paid that money and slapped that license on there, and here we go. I wonder if Monster's a sponsor of like whatever the motocross series is in the United States. I would assume so based on this.
They're really big into the motocross and all that shit. Like that's why I asked, because I'm like Monster Energy, but then you said motocross. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. X Games, all that, they used to be back in the day anyway.
Yeah, I can't drink Monsters anymore.
They got some interesting new flavors.
Well, it's the regular Monster. Man, let me tell you, way back when, I'm old, remember? Way back when I was in college and making a trip back from the shore back home, my stop was in Cambridge, Maryland. I always got a Monster energy drink and a cream cheese stuffed pretzel from Wawa. Like that was my side. That was my snack stop after I was like I don't know, 45 minutes an hour on the road by that point in time. Actually, it was like 35 minutes or so. Now, as the 40 plus person I am, I can't do it. I'm like, oh man, what they got? There's so much sugar.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But
and then the low calorie ones, those are disgusting.
Yes,
I want people. Listen, this don't have anything to do with games, right?
No, not at all.
Well, maybe it do because a lot of streamers we try to stay up, so we be drinking energy drinks.
That's true.
Stop with the low calorie, no calorie, fake sugar. That shit is nasty.
It's disgusting.
We know it's not good for us.
It's bad for you already.
Yeah, leave the taste alone. Like we already know what time it is with the energy drink. Those low calorie, zero calorie ones, like those aren't any healthier. They're actually worse. They taste disgusting. I just leave the energy drinks alone. Monster, talking to you specifically.
Well, Monster, especially those ones I would say the dollar store was really the 125-cent store now. Yeah, just
of them.
Leave them alone. Like, no.
They taste terrible.
They do. They really do.
We don't need that. Let the sugar be in there. It's only 200 calories in a regular drink. Like, leave it alone. Yeah. Let us get the taste that we need and the energy that we need. All this, we took the calories out and we replaced the good sugar with fucking Splenda. And it's nasty. Leave us alone.
No. Splenda, no. Sucralose, no. Okay. Anyway, look, you're going to be jittery anyway after slamming down 3 or 4. And what's another 1,000 calories in sugar? Just take a walk.
Right. Like, leave it alone because I don't get it. I hate that. I'm looking at 0
I agree. Oh boy. All right, let's get back to the gaming now. Another game came out this week, and this is for the PS4, Switch, and PC. It's Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. And this is a fighting game using characters from Persona 4. What Persona's up to 5 or 6 now?
They up there in
okay. Or was it 7? I forget. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because this game originally came out on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 way back in 2014. And if you have an Xbox, it is backwards compatible. So that's why they didn't release it for the Xbox One or the Xbox Series systems. Okay. But again, it's a fighting game using Persona characters from Persona 4.
Basically.
Not much really to talk about there.
It's not. And I want them to stop doing that as well.
Yes.
If you're not going to put in the fan favorite modes into the new games, then just leave us alone because now you're playing. I don't want Persona 4 when Persona 5 is just out and Persona 6 is on the horizon and all this other shit. Like, if you're not going to give us Arena in the current game, then
exactly.
Stop doing that. That's weird.
Right. And especially considering they released it for the PS4, not even the 5, the 4. Even though it's backwards compatible, it just lets you know right now this is straight up. This is going to be just a port, not even like upscaled high res. It's literally just a port.
And then when the holiday season roll around, they'll sell y'all the PS5 upgrade for $10 and continue to capitalize off of the same game. Like, what's going on?
Exactly.
We don't have any new developers in the world that's like shaking up the game industry, forcing everybody to be new and innovative. We got the same games over and over. It's weird.
Go back to the beginning of the show when we talked about GTA 5.
Yes, exactly. Right. Somebody need to put these people on their toes. Like, man, we got to stop making the same game.
Well, no, it's not even. It's we need to stop buying the same games. True. If we didn't buy them, they wouldn't keep doing it. So it's our fault.
That's true. And then you know what? I'm saying that Persona, that is, like you said, it's a Japanese like anime and fighting game style or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So being that Sony is, Japan or whatever, they don't have an extreme amount of titles to them. So I feel like Sony USA has pretty much ran the market as far as new games.
Right.
So I can see it. I guess I understand from that aspect, but that's just me thinking outside of the box. I don't understand.
Look, just as long as they ain't charging full price, we good. I didn't check the pricing on it, but if they were charging full price, they would stay right there. If I was an owner of one of these systems,
I'm gonna tell you right now, just open up your old console and just play the game on there because you already have it.
Exactly. Exactly. So next up on our list is a game I've heard a lot about over the past couple of months, and this game is Shredders, and this is only on the Xbox and the PC, and is actually dropping into Game Pass on day one. And this is a sports snowboarding game. So one of the most interesting things, especially with the Xbox PS2 era, we had a whole lot of snowboarding games. We had the SFX series, and I forget there was another snowboarding series. It was the late 90s, early 2000s. You know, extreme sports were the big thing, and then they died out very quickly. Well, Shredders seeks to recapture a lot of that nostalgia. And there was actually another snowboarding game that's on Game Pass right now, but it wasn't that extreme as say SFX was, and I think it was a bit more grounded but still arcadey. I believe Shredders is taking more of that SFX sort of motif and really making it trick based and making it more of that arcade snowboarding game that we had 20 years ago that was very popular and then just kind of died off. So I'm interested in just to see what it was like picking that up or downloading that when it comes out, I guess in a day or so on Game Pass, and really taking a look at it.
Yeah, that I don't know. I don't know what happened to those games. Those used to be fun games. I feel like once Tony Hawk decided he was done, pro skateboarding or whatever, like the entire side of that industry kind of fell apart. But this is I don't know. It's not for PlayStation, so I won't be playing it. But I like when those kind of games come out.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's one of those things where like that whole genre just died out. Extreme games. I think also too, I think a lot of that died out because it became the norm. So you didn't have that, or like the sports on the genre became the norm. And once things become normal, they aren't exciting anymore. So you don't get all those eyeballs people are used to. So I think that's part of the reason why you had something like Shredders or SSX Tricky. And I really forget the other snowboarding game. I know because Microsoft at the time in the original Xbox, they published a lot of first party stuff because they didn't have the support. And I know they had a first party snowboarding game. I feel like it was called Amped or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. And I know there was another competing series along with SSX from some publisher, and I forget where. I feel like Bazaar did it, but I'm not sure. I don't think so though. But so you have a couple titles around that 2002, 2003, 2004 window, and then really after SSX 3, poof, nothing.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how things kind of die out and then come back. You've had the remasters of Tony Hawk come out now and have been very popular and really invigorated that series. Their EA is now doing, I believe, Skate 4. I don't think it's Skate 3, or maybe Skate 3. That series is now in the work because of the renewed interest in skateboarding and the Skate series. But that's a couple years away, and that's going to be next gen focused, to what I understand. So we are having a renaissance of those extreme sports games. I think partially because I think everybody's tired of just 2K and Madden and like what other types of sports or FIFA, like really what other types of sports games are there on a regular basis that are really high profile? I'm not saying like some of the indie stuff and whatnot, not to take away from them, but there's nothing really high profile outside of those major sports. And there are a lot of people who do other things. Like there's a Xbox Game Pass game called Skatebird. That's cool. It's a bird skating. You got all that physics, but it's not a Tony Hawk. It's not what skaters I know. If I'm into skating, I want to play a skating game. If I'm into snowboarding, I want to play a snowboarding game with snowboarders that I know. And I think that that's a niche that game publishers have really let go of, and I think now are starting to rediscover.
Yeah, and to your point with that, I feel like a lot of that, like let go of those type of games or whatever, comes from the fact that the actual sport and activity and like the real world is kind of taking a backseat to everything. Like you look at I don't know, say ESPN or something like that. All they talk about, NBA, NFL, and they might cover soccer every once in a while and whatever's going on with the Olympics or whatever. Like they don't really, I don't know, motocross, like we talked about this monster game earlier and stuff like those genres of athleticism don't necessarily get the shine that they deserve. So maybe the developers are like, oh, these games won't sell because we don't have a star to stick on the front of the cover to make people buy them. But in that same vein, like that's all the more reason to publish these kind of games, because they are still like, I don't know the next time I will be at a motocross event or whatever, right. But now that gaming is to a point where we have like esports and shit like that, like ESPN is starting to cover these major gaming tournaments or whatever. That's a different way for you to build a fan base and an audience for these type of games. So maybe I'll see a snowboarder in the game, like the way they play or whatever, learn about them in real life, and then become a fan, and that'll invigorate the sport once again. But it just, I don't know how marketing people think when it comes to consumers, nor do I understand these developers and how they put their games together. But it just seems to me like they are looking for, like, we know what's coming with 2K because we got all these amazing basketball players and amazing football players to be on the cover of Madden, even though people hate this new Madden game. So those are going to sell itself. But I think it's just harder for sports that don't have like those marquee players to advertise for it.
Right. And it is something else I thought about while you were saying that. And then we'll move on to our last game release for this week. But you also think too, that's literally 20 years ago, a lot of these games originally came out.
Right.
Those kids that played those games and loved those games, that have those fond memories, a lot of them went into gaming because of that, and now they may be getting a chance. Or even like, say you're 15, 16 in 2002 or 2003, that's 20 years later, you're 35, 34-year-old man,
right,
or woman, or what have you. You're into gaming, you're working a game developer, you have an idea for a game based on the game that you love that got you into gaming. And I think that's where we are now, where one of the reasons why we're seeing a resurgence in a lot of these sort of alt sports titles on a mainstream, because we have developers who grew up with those games. Like people like myself, we grew up on Mario on Nintendo. So what you saw was a lot of people when they got in the industry that are around my age demographic made games like Mario, wanted to make that next great Mario game, wanted to evolve Contra, or even though Hideo Kojima, he's probably in his 50s or 60s, but with Metal Gear and how he evolved then, I'm sure people that worked with Kojima Productions at the time grew up on the original Metal Gear on MSX and Nintendo. So it's just that sort of cycle, and I think that's what we're seeing now a lot of with this resurgence from these extreme sports, I'll say, games coming back.
Which is welcome. I don't have any problem with this. Like, I get bored of the first person shooters very often, which is why RPGs are like my go-to, whatever. But if ever I could find something else that'll like take up my time, whatever, just be something cool to play, like this is definitely one. This Shredder's game. I just recently, because they put the I think we talked about this before, the Sonic Team Racing game.
Yes.
Yeah, they just made it free on PlayStation Plus for PlayStation Plus subscribers. I downloaded it last night. I was surprised they have a story mode in the game and everything. So, like, game, whenever people come and they're innovative and they bring back these old classics like this or whatever, it's gonna be a win if somebody just stick their neck out and publish it. So, shout out to whatever's going on at Microsoft that made them want to publish Shredders, because this is there's a space for that, and it needs to continue to be filled.
Right, exactly. Now, the last game we're going to talk about today as far as new release is one of the games we talked about a bit earlier, and that's Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. And that, surprisingly, I was surprised it's on, well, everything but the Switch. I thought it was PS exclusive. You know, Final Fantasy, a lot of new stuff coming out straight to PS. The PlayStation, but it's on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series S, X, and PC. It is an action game, not a role-playing game, and it's actually developed by Team Ninja. So, you know, those of Ninja Gaiden fame, even though Itagaki left the company a long time ago, they still are making games in that vein. So there's a certain pedigree that comes with the experience with making this sort of action game like Stranger of Paradise. And Brian, do you know when this game, since it's called Final Fantasy Origin, when is this game supposed to take place? It's supposed to take place before one?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what the actual, like, quote unquote origin of it is. Now, I'm not like a super Final Fantasy, like, you know, I don't know all the backstories and all of the lore and stuff like that, but I have played like the bigger games, you know, 7 remake. I have that. I play that pretty often, and 14 is fantastic if you're into online multiplayer. But what I feel like is happening, and this is part of the reason why I downloaded the demo or whatever, and I'm gonna get out of play. I feel like Square Enix is giving other developers an opportunity to create some kind of story for characters that they want to introduce into the Final Fantasy universe at a later date, I guess, because I don't know when this is supposed to take place in the Final Fantasy storyline. I don't even know who this guy is that is the main character. So I feel like what they're doing is they're like, okay, we want to introduce some new characters, and we don't necessarily want to be tasked with coming up with all of the backstory and tying it into, you know, whatever. So they're like, you know what the Final Fantasy series is about, you know what the story is, whatever. Give us a new character. We'll call it an origin story, find a way to tie him in, and then we'll see him in the Final Fantasy like roster of characters later on in some super mashup game. I don't know. I think that's what's happening. I'm gonna play the demo. Wait, is this Stranger of Paradise? Is that the one I just downloaded? Either way, I'm gonna play this origin story and see what's going on, because I everything that they have been doing since they decided to remake 7 has been like A+ for me.
Got you.
I like the whole transition from, which at first I was like, why would they just add that in there? But I get it, because they in 7, the remakes or whatever, you have the ability to switch it back to the original like turn-based action style.
Okay,
or
that's
you
cool.
can do their new battle system that they just incorporated. So everything since then, I've just been like, okay, this is dope. So I'm gonna check it out and see what they're talking about. But I don't know when this is supposed to be, like what part of the story this person's supposed to fit in, but we'll see.
Okay, that's cool. Well, with that said, let's jump into the trailer for Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin.
Let's. The memory of their struggles buried deep in their hearts.
I'm here to kill chaos. That's my mission.
I mean, that's a lofty goal right there. You're trying to kill chaos. I mean, you must be a real badass.
Has been waiting for us.
You gonna make us go in there and find you?
Guess we'll just show ourselves in.
I only know one thing. I want to kill chaos.
Okay, it reminds me of Ninja Gaiden.
It's not a
Or is it Ninja
hope,
Gaiden? How you pronounce it? I don't know.
It's like a hunger, thirst.
Move aside! You're dust!
You sure chaos is here?
Yeah, they can only squash monsters for so long. I hate doing pest control.
This is the shrine of chaos. He's here. We just have to hunt him down.
Feel the pain!
The darkness is so thick I can taste it. This is it. No doubt.
Die already!
All right, so I see you have party members possibly.
There was a knight who left on the same journey as
This is
you,
this is
but
another
never returned. His name was Garland.
The Square Next
Good.
kind of situation.
I would be
like,
grateful if you
your
looked
main
for him.
character and two, or you get support characters along the way. I don't know. In Final Fantasy VII Remake, you are able to switch between the characters and the support characters, like control all of them
And
as
who
if they
are
were main
you?
characters. I don't know
We're
if
here
this
to
particular
kill
game is gonna
chaos.
have that same
The
setup.
prophecy's
But
very own Warriors of Light.
Possibly. Would be cool if it was like a multiplayer aspect of that as well, like online multiplayer, playing through the campaign.
Was terrifying to behold.
It's Garland.
No. I become chaos.
I become chaos.
okay, yeah. Yeah, so
I'm gonna talk like
definitely
this
gonna
from
be-
now on.
you can't
You know, if you didn't tell me that wasn't made by Team Ninja, I would automatically known it was made by Team Ninja because it looked like a Final Fantasy skin in Ninja Gaiden.
yeah,
Straight up.
Which I
It's
don't
not a
have
bad
no
thing.
issue. Yeah,
Yeah, not a bad thing whatsoever.
yeah, they're very, very, like I said, they're similar in like battle style.
Yeah.
So especially with this new direction that they're taking with all the Final Fantasy releases. So I'm excited. Like
Yeah.
I was gonna play it yesterday, but some things got in the way. That Sonic Team Racing took up about a month.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's the newer version that you have. Just Sonic Team Racing, not Sonic Team All-Star Racing.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I think you probably have the newer one because I have the 360.
Let me see.
I have the first game, so I think that's the second game. So yeah, I play the first game all the time. So when that came out on the 360 and the PS3, and it's fun. It's really fun to play. It's not as fast paced as Mario Kart, but it's cool playing with the Sonic. So I say that to say I understand how that can suck you in.
Yeah, because it was just, you know what it was, and we'll get back to the chat. I didn't realize that they had incorporated like a story mode. That really like took me by surprise because I was like, oh, okay, there's a plot line here, and you have to play through the story mode in order to unlock all the other team racers and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, cool. This is pretty dope. And it gave me like, was it Johnny 5? Who is the racing kid from like way back in the day? One of the most popular like racing animes. What?
Oh, Speed Racer?
Yes.
Okay.
It kind of like the story mode, how they kind of had the characters up there, kind of gave me that vibe. So I was like,
okay.
All right, cool. But as far as Strangers of Paradise, I'm excited to play it. Hopefully the demo will give me enough to be like, okay, I want to buy the full game because the pre-orders is available right now. So we'll see what the demo is looking like, and I'll decide if I want to buy it or not.
Okay, well look, that's the way to do it. Play the demo, see if you like it, and then buy it if you do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what the whole purpose of a demo.
That's what it's for.
All right, next up we have Phantom Breaker Omina, and this is that 2D anime fighter that we talked about earlier.
Okay.
Oh, yes! You want to know what time it is? It's Phantom Breaking time! Oh, yeah! Let's go! The fire in my heart is burning! Is your body ready? 20 different characters! Are you okay? 3 different fighting styles, multiplied by 20 characters, and well, that's a lot of combinations! Maximum combos! Maximum fun! No way!
Okay.
Fighting! Lots and lots of fighting! Oh my! Spicy! Go into overdrive and let's go crazy!
This looks very good to me.
Yes, I thought the same thing.
I'm okay with that.
Not gonna lie, I'm actually excited about this one! Giant magical tigers! Oh yes, indeed!
Fan favorites, but it doesn't
get out of fighting game jail card! Let's go and collect $200!
This game
battle your way through.
It looks good. One of the things I noticed though was especially when I watched the trailer earlier,
Where did this come from?
it doesn't seem as fast paced as it used to be. It seems like a half a beat slower in the fighting.
which is great because if these people market it.
Click, clack, bada bing, bada boom. Are you ready to break some phantoms? Phantom Breaker
I mean, it looks
Armia,
great.
March 15th, 2022. The fire in your heart will be burning like habanero salsa.
Now, it's a little off subject, but when he started, when he's like, what's it? I have a burning in my heart. I hope your body's ready. I didn't think about a video game. I'm like, what are we about to be watching here?
Right.
Oh, like some cheesy softcore dialogue, if you understand what I'm talking about.
Well, you know, fan service.
Fan service,
like,
right.
Yeah. I feel like this is a aim for the
yeah. Somebody had fun reading that script. I'll say that much.
He started talking about heartburn and all. Okay.
Right. Talking about habanero. I'm like, all right, man. So that was Phantom Breaker, Omina, and the last one we have is Tunic.
Okay. Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that.
I say it looks beautiful, but that again, that Zelda-esque, like this is like a love letter to old school Zelda.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's a platformer, but like way it's a little bit. It's gonna be two variants. Man, it looks great.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a time exclusivity or not, but for right now it's on Xbox, and they've been pumping up this game for at least 2 years now as being an Xbox exclusive.
Man,
but it's probably timed.
On Switch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure it's probably 6 months to a year at the most. I think we talked about before. Usually these games that drop on Xbox is like a 6 month window. If that, usually 6 months before they drop on another system.
Oh, and then you know what we talked about last week? What's those thing? The new handheld for
the Steam Deck.
The Steam Deck, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that okay.
Yeah.
I see what's going on here.
Yep. PC right there.
Yeah, I see it.
So it's probably in Steam.
Games like those, like for like long car rides or flights or whatever. Perfect. That's not too, heavy on the side of things. You have to pay attention, like super in depth and know what's going on.
Right, exactly.
It's a nice time passer that you can just get caught up in. I want that game for Switch. I'll say that.
Wait about 6 months. I'm pretty sure to show up.
I appreciate
if not a year, because I think it was about a year before Cuphead showed up.
Okay.
So yeah, that's like the long case. But those games weren't published directly by Microsoft. Like the Ori games are directly published by Microsoft. So they published them actually on Switch. So interesting. All right, so that's it for this week in our game releases, Brian. So Brian, where can they find you?
I am got it right this time. Talk+Play blerdcast, and then here on the NRW checkpoint. This is my name. This is the full thing. So if you just type that in on Twitter or Instagram, I will pop up, looking like myself, and then you will be able to have access to me. I've been talking about TV for like the last 2 weeks, but this week we definitely doing TV on the Talk+Play blerdcast. There is another State of the Play happening in 2 days. That's going to be specific to the Hogwarts Legacy game. I'm gonna find a way to cover that, and that's really all I got coming up.
All right, so thank you, Brian. So of course you can find me at WebsterStyle.com, WebsterStyle all over the place, Instagram, Twitter. More importantly, the Sartorial Geek podcast for WebsterStyle streaming every week on every podcast platform. Right now, episode 100 is out, where we talk about Picard season 2, episodes 1 and 2. We have guest spots from the Real Woman of Cosplay and Bishop Cosplay talking about the importance of 28 Days of Black Cosplay. Having a gentleman shout out with my man Zach Nevea of Maison de Darius Perfumery, as well as talking about spring style and perfumes that you need to really be on the lookout for. And this week gonna be a bit more Picard, talking about the Ms. Marvel trailer just dropped, and a whole host of other things coming this Friday.
Cool.
And we are nerds. And don't forget, we are nerds. I proudly have always worn that title. And of course, as you know, nerds rule the world. That's why you're here. So don't forget to check us out and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the NRW, Instagram at New Release Wednesday. And of course, share, like, and above all, subscribe.